Coug Nation, Kyle and I got to meet Coach Moore. Let's talk about it. First, the intro.
If you're interested in being great, you better look hard into Washington State. You want to be great? Go to Washington State, baby.
Cougs. Well, yeah, Gav. Nice work. I don't know did you partner with somebody on that?
Me, myself, and I.
Community college classes? I don't know. That was good.
Those JUCO classes are kicking in, baby. Had to add Jack Thompson in there, though.
Oh, man, I love it. It fires me up, and I was already pretty fired up getting on this call, guys. I mean, Kyle and I had a great opportunity to go down to Marco Polo. It's always a great spot if you're a Coug fan, even if it's not a Coug event going on. Going down there before a Mariners game, highly recommend it. The chicken's phenomenal. The people are even better. But, seeing the staff, Lorando come through, but even Coach Moore, and just kind of getting that vibe when they walk in the room, being there, and I'm going to leave the kind of Cougs at this, and I want to get Kyle's thoughts, but like being in last year's when Coach Rogers came through, he was exhausted. And maybe it was just kind of like the sign of the times on where the administration was at and how they treated football staff at the time, but he was driving around everywhere. This same staff was doing a lot of the same thing. They came through and they had like serious pep in their step. They're excited. They're excited about the conversations they're having. They're getting in front of coaches and building actual relationships. You're seeing on social media, guys, too. And like coaches coming in for a second time in a row, pledging their allegiance to recruiting local. So, fellas, I know this whole last couple of weeks has us been just kind of looking at transfer portals, and I think it just kind of makes sense to talk about this, is just wrapping the bow on portal season and just seeing like the philosophy and the consistency we're going to see in this program going forward, and what we were hoping and wanting. We're going to see a lot of that next year. So, boys, Kyle, give me your thoughts on it. Hopefully I led you well.
Oh, no, perfectly. I would say that, again, not been to a meet and greet before. I can see for a lot of coaches that it's a check in the box, right? Like, okay, I go do this, I do this. You could tell Kirby and that crew, like, they wanted to be there. They wanted to see what makes Coug football so great. Like, and they wanted to ask questions. They were asking us questions, which I thought was amazing. And I think, Chad, what was it? I felt like it was like 50 minutes. It felt like we were talking with him. Like, it was really cool. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just went, hey, nice to meet you, go Cougs, and went to the next table and did his walk around. But the way he talked, like, he was excited. I mean, of course, they hopefully they're excited when they talk, but he really, you could tell that. And then when Brad talked, I mean, I'm sitting there going, wall, where's the wall I can run through for you? And the thing that he said that just, it's living rent free in my head right now is they brought guys on campus, and they said within 30 minutes, they knew if they were going to be part of this team or not. And they told people yes, or told people you're just not part of the makeup of what we're trying to do. And that is right there. I said, that's not a team that's just, we were deserted by the other Pac-10, this, and this. We are our own team. You're lucky to come play for the Cougs. And I got chills going already. Like, I was ready to go.
Marshawn Lynch once famously said, "I'm about that action, boss." And that describes that right there. And it makes so much sense. We got the Super Bowl coming up this week. But that's another topic for another day. Sorry, I wanted to chime in with that.
No, I loved every single thing about that. And I think I knew exactly what player they were talking about. Like, boys, we were all about the portal this year and just really staying on top of what guys were on campus. And there was a few names that they're hitting us up. They're ready for Austin to make that post with them, and there was no post to be made. so it was cool kind of hearing the why behind that. I mean, they just knew that the guys just wouldn't fit in Pullman. So I really appreciated that. And then Kyle, when we were having that conversation, I'm ex-equipment manager. I did the laundry for the football team. Nothing that special, but his ears perked up when I said that. And he was just like, I love the equipment managers because they know what's going on in the locker room. And you mentioned too, like he asked, he was just curious about things. He knew I had worked under Leach, and just like, what did you like about Leach? He asked me, like, nobody's really asked me that. It was really, he talked about, I talked about the consistency. It didn't matter if the guy was a walk-on, didn't matter if it was a scholarship player. He had the same expectations for each individual guy. Their roles, he treated them all the same. And as a it's just a professional, more of a professional landscape we're in today. So I think that it even just rings even more true now when we're at with recruiting. But fellas, I know you guys weren't there, but we talked about it till we're blue in the face. I feel like via text for like a 24-hour period, but I want to get you guys' thoughts on things before we move on.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of curious, not to just throw random questions, but did you guys get a chance to talk at all? And I'm not saying that you should shamelessly do this, but did you guys talk at all about the podcast with them? Just a mention of like, hey, like we're part of this thing.
We kind of got this thing going on.
That makes sense if you didn't. I figured I'd throw it out there.
No, did not bring up the podcast. No, did not bring that up at all. More, I was just curious on just like, what the last couple of weeks has looked like, what the next couple of weeks looks like for them. And I think the best thing is, like, I tried to ask like pretty much the same questions I did with Coach Rogers. And I think the biggest difference was just the energy levels. As like Rogers is definitely more of the Eeyore type. He wears like a little more of the emotions on his sleeves, where I think you're going to see with Kirby is a little bit more consistency with his words, and he's just going to kind of just push forward with whatever's going on, and they're just going to have to come together. So,
Chad, a gentleman and a scholar, by the way, because I appreciate you not doing that, because I want to just have a good conversation. So that's good. I'm glad we went that route. Kirby Moore is the dude, and I know he would probably be the first guy to be like, hey, let's talk football and all that stuff on the podcast. But no, I think you went the right route, and we'll touch bases on the podcast when we can.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am here. It's just to talk about 1890 Club, baby. We're in the perfect spot. Like, we've said this so many different times, like, just where we're at, we need to be like super thankful where like John Harlow, who was actually at this, by the way, he was present, never seen another AD come to a bar in Seattle for a coach's meet and greet. So I thought that was pretty special. Like, you got a lot of people in the room that truly care. So, if you're a Coug fan, you get emotional about this team, you get upset about a loss on a Saturday, go look up 1890 Club. Just make a little donation. Even if it's just one time, let's do it.
And just to tag on to that, not one Wazoo staff member that was there looked bored. They looked like they wanted to be there. They wanted to integrate themselves with the people. Like, they saw people were taking time out of their day to come see them, and they went, you know what, I'm going to repay that. And I think, again, that's kind of why we didn't. I don't think really the questions came up about the podcast. It's more like, hey, we could ask about that anytime. I want to know who you are. How do you tick? What do you think of the program? What do you want to create here? He talked about his time at Fresno State and about just having players in that area that can help build these programs into, phenomenal teams. And he said there is that in Washington. And I think there was a graphic at one point I talked about like this, they have staff members. I think it was like each county. Was it county or was it region within the Washington? I had never saw the graphic. I had heard about it. But to me, I think there's a focus. And the guy, he was a player from Washington State who got overlooked by Washington State. His brother, who turns out to be a pretty good quarterback and a pretty good coach, got overlooked by Washington State. And I think he looks at that and goes, I'm not going to, because that's been Wazoo's, I think, their bloodline is the diamonds in the rough. And he goes, I'm not going to miss out on those guys. And if I can show that I will take those guys in and make them great players, you're going to see some of these 3, 4, 5 stars down the road going, hey, they're not dumb. They see what goes on. Go, hey, if they're looking for that, why wouldn't I want to come be a part of that? And I think that is the culture he's trying to build. And Brad talking about, hey, when we bring a guy in, we vetted him to see if he was actually going to be part of our culture. And I'm like, dude, let's go. Again, wall me, run through. Let's go. Great.
Yeah. When he was walking away too, I got him to crack up and I made a comment because his brother was part of the 07 class. So Kellen, I said it's tough because I love this Coug too. But I say one of the worst decisions Coug football's ever made was offering Marshall Obistal over Kellen Moore. No offense, Marshall. I love Marshall. Such a great Coug. Awesome teammate. Loved having him around the locker room. Awesome to all the equipment managers, but we swung and missed. And Kirby got a crack up on that. And he's just like, okay, that was good. And he just kept going.
Did we swing and miss on the sword here? Like, we swung the sword and just the fruit didn't hit the blade, I guess.
That was a Todd Sturdy, Paul Wolf problem philosophy of offensive talent evaluation.
But also to Kellen's point, I mean, it was Paul Wolf or Chris Peterson. I mean, I'm sorry. I think you're going to go Chris Peterson 100% of the time. And again, Kirby Moore played under him, got coached under him. And if you like and you look at Chris Peterson did as a coach, he took teams that weren't exactly getting 5 stars and he made them relevant. I mean, we can talk about the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, that is a Chris Peterson stamp of what I do. Probably one of the best coach games you'll ever see coached.
And Chris Peterson gave a huge shout out when Kirby Moore got the job. Yeah. So, he put a stamp on Kirby too. So, yeah. I did a ton of coaches, but I mean, Chris Peterson, awesome.
No, yeah. I mean, that kind of wraps up our Kirby meet and greet. That was just fantastic. I hope we get another opportunity to do it again. I'm sure he'll be thrown at a Mariners first pitch over the summer. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if we can find our way to Marco Polo and do that again. But that kind of takes us, I know, Kyle, you touched on it a little bit, just how the strategy of how each coach has their region, especially in the state of Washington, that local focus too. But I think I love the chart, Gavin. I don't know if you're able to throw it up, of just what was really where all the coaches came from around the country. And this is head coach all the way down to offensive assistants, GAs. I mean, I just, really like.
I love the spread. Like if you look, they got East Coast, they got Central, obviously a huge heavy spot there at Missouri, and then they got a huge strong pull in the West. And I think to win in nowadays game, you have to recruit across the country. It's nice to stay localized when you can, and you want to be able to bring guys in, but there's great players all throughout the nation that you can pull from. So getting East Coast, I think, is very important, especially when most of the population of America lives on the east side.
Yeah, I think the only 2 outliers on this is just the Northeast. I think you see Army West Point and Lafayette College. Both of those are GAs. I think one GA for special teams, the other one's on defense. So the position coaches, a lot of them all had worked together at one time too. And I know Gabby, Kyle, you put together another graph, but if you kind of overlay the players and the coaches, there's a ton of similarities. Mm-hmm. I think for me, the only outlier here is the state of Texas. Us being able to hold on to some prep Texas players. And I think we had a Texas State transfer, but really awesome graph here to kind of give a full picture of it.
I mean, Texas, that's 100% Leach what he did. He attack Texas after Texas after Texas player, especially coming from Texas Tech and everything. So having the Texas poll is huge. I also agree. There's also one outlier. I don't know if you could see the green arrow heading way west. Kyle, did you want to talk about that one that just kind of floats off the map there?
Yeah, so that one, if you want to go down to your screen, probably below your desk and down below, there's a place called New Zealand where we have a tight end that's coming from. Unfortunately, for aesthetics, I couldn't add it because if I did, the U.S. would have looked really, really tiny and probably wouldn't have led to a very good graphic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we did not leave him out. He is there.
He's there.
Green line.
He's just
to be continued. Yeah.
He's pulling now.
I love that. And really, just as we were wrapping up this portal season, I want us to kind of just quickly go through the positions, just numbers wise. I know at the meet and greet, Kirby and, there was just some numbers thrown out on guys that were on campus. I think we wrote down 59 returning, right, Kyle? And then 38 total transfers. That's more than the number we've seen reported. So maybe that's a combination of some freshmen that'll be on campus next year. So I think it'll be really interesting to see when they actually post that official March roster for spring ball. But kind of starting out, Kyle, QBs, I love to hear about QBs, our passing game, hear about your receivers, what you're most excited about. Maybe we can throw up a depth chart too on the offense while Kyle breaks that down. We'll roll through it.
So, I mean, they talked about they were pretty happy with the QB room they have. And I think if you look at a QB room, like this one's pretty good. I mean, you've got Julian Duggar that's got some experience. You got Caden Pinnock who has, a whole year's worth of experience. And then you got Owen Eshelman who's kind of that, kind of developmental, what's his ceiling? He kind of reminds you of a Mateer a little bit, does that, but he needed to probably get some size on him other than he is tall. He just needed to gain probably 10, 15, 20 pounds. Hopefully he's done that over the course of the last 2 years. So maybe we see that. But I think for the quarterbacks, you've got a good setup. I don't think, sure, I would have, as we talked about, would have loved to have had maybe a really established bridge guy. But I think if we're going to trust Kirby and his staff and what they've done and what he's done at his prior stops, if he says he's good, we got to kind of take that, take his word for it. So in that case, I'm good. I'm happy. I think they all bring a little bit different pieces to the table. Obviously, we've seen Julian and Caden in the college setting. We haven't seen Owen yet. And then from the receivers, looking at last year to this year, and we had a stat we had a comparison we brought up a couple weeks ago, which I thought was a really good idea of seeing both sides. I think we're coming in with a better receiving core. Maybe not as at the current moment tight as we had been previously, but Ryan McKendry, I think he's going to blow some doors. That guy, you look what he did, you watch his tape and you go, God damn, we won. We won something there. And then, you got Freeman. We know what he does. That guy is dangerous in two elements of the game. And then Lechner was a great kind of H-back tight end guy. Maxwell Woods later on in the year became a really good third down back. He looked phenomenal in that bowl game. Again, Voorhees, you got Palouse. And then, you kind of see some of these new guys with, Jack Peterson, and you got Tank Hawkins, some of these guys that really hadn't had an opportunity yet. I just think to me, the floor is higher than last year. And honestly, the ceiling, I think, is higher. And you look at that tight end room and you go, damn, I made the joke before with our defensive line. I know Joel loves this, is we look like we have hockey lines. Honestly, I think Kirby Moore's sitting here salivating, going, what package do I want to run today? Let me just, pull the little bingo card out and see what it is. I'm stoked. It's going to be a great time.
Now, yeah, on just to double tap on QBs, I really feel like Owen Eshelman could be a sneaky player to watch in March during spring ball. Obviously you mentioned just some Mateer, both Oklahoma guys. I think where Owens really intrigues me too, especially from a QB position. I think he's an engineer major, so extremely smart, brainiac. I love to see what that kind of does from a QB role. So, and then receivers, just the athletes they're bringing in, a lot of like power four, really good names, just guys looking for that opportunity, and also probably staying healthy too.
I want to give 2 cents on the quarterback as well. As you're seeing a lot of the game evolving into dual threat quarterbacks, even at the highest level. You're seeing dual threat become kind of the main thing. We're starting to stray away from your average pocket passer. Even pocket passers are starting to move around the field a little bit. So you can see that they're pinpointing a specific type of player, Pinnock, Eshelman, and then even Julian Duggar. I think he actually has a pretty good arm. We just haven't seen it. I don't think they've run it. We don't know, I guess, is what it looks like in games. But I think I've seen him sling a football. I think the arm is there. So very curious to see on what he can do. Or maybe he is like Mateer was, his first year with Cam Ward, where he's in package plays with Cam Ward, and now you got two quarterbacks in the backfield, and there's a lot of plays you can run with that. So I wanted to just pick on the type of quarterback that's coming to Wazoo with this offense.
Yeah, I think on the offensive side of the ball, I guess you can say probably our passing game is the one where you can kind of flip a coin and on paper maybe it's better, but it's probably relatively the same. So we'll see what kind of production we get. Looking forward to that, but I know as we go into that running game, offensive line. Everybody already knows we brought everybody back, so that's the nice thing too. But late in this portal season, we're able to bring in 2 offensive tackles, which I found to be really interesting. Obviously, Ashton Tripp played, all 12 games, 13 games at left tackle. Johnny Lester, Kyle Martin, Noah Dunham, Nick Backen in the interior were, pretty solid and available for most of the season. So they got a ton of snaps. And Jalen Caldwell, when he was healthy, he was your starting right tackle. So bringing in, I believe it was Maximus McGree, who was UW, correct?
Yes.
He was a UW transfer. And then also Kalalo Taaga. Hopefully I said that one right. Apologies. Yes, but out of Utah. So what does that look like? What do the Cougs do there? I love the fact that every single one of, outside of center or starting center, every single one of our offensive linemen, I think, are 6'5", 310. So they got some length to them too. So it'll be interesting. Is a guy like Johnny Lester and Noah Dunham, or maybe they're going to be put in at center and see, who comes out on top, and create a little bit of competition, I think, on the interior offensive line. Since we didn't really add anybody, I don't believe we added anybody in the portal from a guard or center perspective, right?
No, we just had Benjamin Makalela, who I had originally thought was a junior college transfer. He's rated at 87 out of high school. Like, he's really good. Him and Cooper Danes are the 2, I think, that are incoming this year that you need to just keep an eye on.
Yeah. And then obviously go ahead, Kyle.
I just want to say, though, and before you keep going, is one thing I think they did here that was so smart was you look at that depth, and I apologize. I think I have a more updated chart, and I must have not got to you, Gavin, so I apologize there. But you look at the nice spread of upperclassmen to lowerclassmen. Like, to me, underclassmen, excuse me. Like, that, you need that, right? Like, you have these guys that are going to come in, establish, and you've got guys that can learn underneath them and hopefully hit the ground running in the preceding years. But that's, to me, a just very masterfully done job there. I'm done.
Yeah, I agree.
No, yeah. I mean, running backs, that's gonna be so easy to talk about. I mean, yeah, and I think it'll just be, it's the only thing that really is to talk about, I guess, is just what does that competition look like? Because obviously everybody starts from the same clean slate, right? You have to impress new staff. You have potentially a new offensive line in front of you, new people around you. Things change as a player, right? You get bigger, you get faster. So it'll be really interesting to see who comes out on the other side going into next season at that running back room, because you really feel like you got a really solid core starting out, and then seeing Lance McGee, laying him late for us really to help us with that depth at the running back role. Being able to play 9 games now in a season and not blow a red shirt, I think is, one, that sounds like a crime, but 2, that allows you to play a lot of guys. So good. I think we could definitely see a little bit of Lance McGee, but you also have Bo Phillips. He's coming in as a junior, I think, from Central. So, and I don't think he's redshirted yet. So Bo Phillips, he could be a guy along with Jermaine Hill, who is a prep Texas running back we added that we could see redshirt as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on this running back class as well. You got so many of them, and so I don't know if it's for sure. I know they talked about 9 games. I don't know if it actually passed. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I know they talked about it. If that is true, then I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these guys that have good hands being moved out to the slot or just used in some other capacity, because you got to get athletes on the field. And like the Bo Phillips kid, local guy, I think he was a 3-star out of high school, showed out at Central Washington. None of these guys are even going to be seniors next year. So you can't even oh, okay, we're going to lose this guy next year. No, there's a good chance they're coming back next year too. You're going to have 7 really solid running backs for 2 years. So I would imagine they maybe play with that a little bit and maybe toss some guys out that have good hands. I have no idea exactly how that's going to break down, but you got 7 of them.
Yeah, Kirby ran with a lot of 2 running back sets, so I'm not really worried about timeshare for them. I think they're going to get a ton of it. And Kyle, I know I loved when they talked about who was that that was talking about Kirby's pedigree too. He basically created the top 3 offenses all time in Missouri history. Really turned around that program, so it was just kind of cool hearing that. Scalzo. I think I'm saying his name right, but yeah. But let's go to the defensive side, though, boys. Joel, You've been quiet over there, my man. You've been you've been salivating. Actually, sorry, not quiet.
Just frame this. Just frame this in the back of your office and just go, what do you want me to do with this? Because good Lord,
back here.
That's what I call defense. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say this defensive line, there's no like true starter. It's more of like fighting for just minutes and they're all going to rotate, right? It has to be.
That's the way I've been looking at it. Because I had a difficult, job. I was looking at everything with what you just said. I was like who do I call? And I did call out and say, okay, here's the four that I would say is like the for sure potentials for starting. But no, you're right. It's a good problem. We are in a place right now, especially across the defensive line, and potentially with the linebackers. I'll talk on it. But we're going to be sitting pretty. I think there's going to be a lot of good competition. I giggle because during spring ball is the moment where O and D linemen get to try and set their like ahas and I'll show yous, and it's going to happen. There's a couple of folks I made notes so I wouldn't forget. But yeah, no, I would say our champions. If I was going to make any predictions, and this is like far and lofty, but after spring ball, I would say our starters will likely be for the D line, Ben Betty. Kate and Betty, I put them next to each other, even though there's no relation. I just wanted them to be close. Elijah Tucker, and I said Luke Webb, just for that D line. But there's certainly a lot of close shuffle. The returners just looked better as some of the film that I was looking at, but I don't know. There's some folks that might get switched out in a good sense. And if we do high rotation, the way I'm kind of looking at the coaching staff, I have a feeling that we're going to be playing around with that 3 front. So it'll make it interesting for rotation, especially at our D tackle situation. But I'm excited to talk about it. And if you guys are open to it, I'll zoom in on what I saw. I went and snuck into some folks' highlight reels through high school to now, at least what I could find. It's exciting. Gavin and I, we talked about, doing some zoom ins, during the off season. I'll do some zoom ins on each player, but I was drooling. This is good.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, Joel, just from that. You kind of mentioned it already, but with Trent Bray, kind of think prior running that 4-2-5, and you kind of talked about running a 3 front. Do you think that just with the team, again, you can come in and say, I'm going to run this defense, but at the end of the day, you got to run the defense based on the players you have on your roster. Do you think we might get away from that 4-2-5 and maybe you look at more of a 6-2, a 4-4, 5-3, where you say, hey, we've got these hogs. We want them in the game as much as possible?
It's a good question. I mean, yes and no. I would say instead of a traditional 4-3, that 4-2 or even the 3-5, you would think, oh, you're going to lose some use of the hogs. But what you can do is integrate them in, and they look like linebackers, but they're really playing as D linemen standing up. And that's where it comes into play. And we already, with the folks that we've recruited, there's a lot of them, especially the D tackles, that were standing through their highlight reels. They were lined up in the gap as D tackles. But we had a couple of them that played, what you call zero technique, where they're straight up, head up to the center. A couple of folks that we recruited, I'm like, I get this feeling that if they manipulate it the right way, a lot of our DNs in those moments situationally could play as stand-up DNs. They're floating. And I wouldn't say rover. They're very close to the line, and they're consistently close to the line. And I'd say probably 80 to 90% of the plays will be them rushing, really just still playing D-line. But there are going to be moments where they could drift backwards. Like they recruited some folks that have made picks on a regular basis. I was like, so I get this feeling like, how could it play out? It's a good question. But I mean, as long as I can get as many of these big jokers on the field as possible, I'm for it.
And I ask that because if you look at like traditional linebackers, I mean, I see Nyland Brown and I see Keith.
Yeah.
And that's about like as your traditional linebackers. Everybody else is kind of that, Gage Jones was a safety that brought into play, he got shifted back and forth. So that's why I kind of asked that question of like, do you see us having more D linemen just whether standing or down in that technique? Because again, we don't have, just based on what we're seeing, a traditional linebacker other than the two.
That's true. And that was something that as I was reviewing everything too, I was like, if we could get more, it would I would love, perfect world, we get some more linebackers. But I mean, it's a good question. I would say, we should get as many bodies on the field as possible at the front. But I was like, we won't mess ourselves up with the tweeners that we have in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like it'll be interesting, but I think in this portal season has kind of told us like where we're going with this defense. We added a ton of corners and safeties, and it's like where do those guys fit into that nickel role? I think we are going to truly play that 5 high, and it's going to be it'll be 3 safeties really playing, and so I think it's not going to be a ton of changes from last year's Bobbitt's defense. I don't. I think they'll probably be playing a little bit less one less linebacker on the field.
Yeah.
At times. But you're seeing like the one thing we talked about early in the year, defense proved us wrong though with their grit, but it was just the size, right? We just never saw that size. Every single one of those defensive linemen are 6'3", 6'4", 310. It's just wild to me.
Oh, I love the size. Yeah, and there's some of them that have played both defensive tackle and defensive end. So it's like, what do? You have so much speed on the field from a front perspective. Oh, please. Let them roar. Let those beasts do what they do.
Gavin, wrap up the back half of that defense.
These D-backs. I mean, we've talked about these guys a couple times, but just to give it, I mean, we got Kai Rapola coming back, who I still am a big fan of, on top of all the guys that we have coming in. We talked about the nickel being, the drop down safety of Gage Jones, Jay-Sean Frosto Ramos, who was ready to commit murder on the field on his or what was it, his Twitter.
I choose violence.
I choose violence. I'm still fired up for this Jay-Sean Frosto Ramos to come in and just lay the hat on some people. But Jack Bow. Which it's 1L. It's 1L just for people out there.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. We're gonna make mistakes. That's why we're professionally unprofessional here.
That's right.
But Trey Ridley, Kyle Peterson, Ko Patu. I mean, these guys that are coming back, the floor has been risen by all these guys that are returning, but also adding guys in. Jeremiah Bernard. We talked about the coaching tree of getting Cal Poly in, getting these Cal Poly guys in as well. I believe it was Kai Rapola that also a year ago transferred in from Cal Poly. So there's a good mixture of guys that already have coaches that they've already played for. The chemistry hopefully should hit the ground running. And then, with Jeremiah Bernard, who I think is an absolute beast. And then Jalen Thomas,
Elmo Watson and Kamari Terrell are not added onto this. That's
correct.
So
Correct. Those are two other guys.
Starters.
Emma Watson was highly regarded as one of the California JUCO's best available D-backs. So I think you're going to get a little bit of maybe Legion. I don't want to compare them to Legion of Boom, but you're going to get guys fighting each other just to get on the field and in such a positive way. You're going to want guys that or you're going to have guys that are going to want to be out there every single play. But hey, let's keep guys fresh. Let's run packages and let's keep everybody healthy and there's just so much to like about these D-backs. The floor has been risen. Again, I'll say it again. The floor has been risen by the guys that have returned, and the ceiling has been risen with the guys that are coming in. Jaleel Tucker and Bryce Heckard, and then I'm blanking on his name. Jalen Thomas from San Jose State. I thought he was an everyday starter at San Jose State. He did phenomenal. There's a lot to like about these D-backs. What are your guys' thoughts on these D-backs in this situation?
There's a lot to. I mean, we haven't even seen him, so I think I like the fact. I think I like the fact that we have the depth where there's a lot of guys in the 3 deeps. Where like this guy on tape looks good, like where he came from, got a lot of minutes last year, a lot of reps. So there's just so much that's going to happen. I'm pretty darn pumped for it, but I know like from a roster standpoint, we're looking at probably about 5 to 10 more spots openings. I'd say the secondary, Gavin, I don't know if you disagree, but that's probably locked up. I think across like different position groups, what they're looking to add. I don't know how many total scholarships, but like my wrapping up just this whole portal season, like I'm just curious if we're going to bring in one more QB.
I would imagine. Right? Like they have to. There's only 3 quarterbacks, and no FBS roster has just 3 quarterbacks. So even with 105 guys, which is a lot less than what most people are used to. I do know this. There is a preferred walk-on that was, I guess, offered a roster spot out of was it Meridian, Idaho? He's incoming freshman. I don't know if he's accepted or anything, but he was talked to over this weekend, and he announced that he was offered a preferred walk-on. And a shout out to one of the young men that I've been talking to. He was number 1 on my videos of top 50 uncommitted and underrated players. Nick Nora. Finally getting talked to by our boys over at Wazoo, and it's his. If I'm not mistaken, it's his number 1 school. He wants to be a Coug. I lobbied hard for Sean Griffin. It just didn't happen. But hey, we got Nick Nora being talked to by our boys. In my opinion, he's the number 1 guy still available. He was then. He is now. So I wanted to give him a shout out.
Let's go.
Yeah, fellas, just looking across the board, position groups. Is there anything else that stands out for you guys? A need, something you could see us fill by the time summer rolls around?
I forgot my favorite player right here.
Oh.
Just
a random slide. Okay. Could help himself.
Sorry, had to. Guys, I love you.
I know.
They are going to punter. I'm out. But I think the one thing it's cool to mention, especially from Kirby Moore's side, is if you look at who Kirby Moore brought over, there's one guy, right? We got Daniel Blood. He's the only guy that came from Missouri. So when we talk about competition, last year you think about how many guys came over with Jimmy Rogers' staff, with the running back rooms. You had Kirby, Angel, and Maxwell all coming over. It's like, okay, Leo Pulasi, Dylan Payne, like, what are we going to do? Right. You don't have that here. It's kind of, hey, it's open, right? Everyone's up for it. And I think and I think probably why there was some attractiveness to Wazoo is like, hey, I don't have guys coming over from these other schools. Sure. A couple Cal Poly guys came over from, with the DB coach, but from the head coach perspective, and you always just see just kind of with Penn State or, Iowa State and going to, Virginia Tech and all these different things, there's mass exoduses following these coaches. You didn't see that here. So it's like, hey, I'm going to respect who comes in, and it's going to be, it's open season. Whoever's the best is going to play. And we talk about that 9 games that you can do that a red shirt for the guys that, are younger or maybe haven't used that red shirt yet. Hey, we're going to sprinkle you in here and we'll let's see who takes it. Hey, if you got the opportunity, we'll red shirt you and we'll see you next year. Or if you want to go on your merry way, but it's just a fun roster. There's so many unknowns, but they're good unknowns because you can see the tape and go, okay, this guy's got something. He just maybe didn't get the opportunity, like a Tank Hawkins and some of those guys just didn't really get the reps. And it's like, hey, you're going to come onto the Palouse. We're going to throw it. We're going to run the rock. We're going to play some hard-nosed defense. And
the amount of 4-stars.
Get ready for some fun. Yeah.
The amount of prior 4-stars, I don't think we've seen this many prior 4-stars land on one roster in 1 year. So I'm excited about that too.
Pick a card, any card. That is the line for this Coug team. Pick a card, any card.
Yeah, I'm really pumped to see too that first full year of like some prep recruiting, and see what that looks like from a ranking perspective, like how we do. But like this staff just knocked us off our feet. Like we've never had multiple former 4-stars. Like,
there's so many.
Been lucky to have one.
Yeah, we're lucky if we get Gabe Marks. All right, let's do it. And I love Gabe Marks. But we have so
many
national
champion and a national champion in Clemens. Is it Clemens?
Yeah, Darius
there
Clemens
you go, from Michigan.
With Michigan, yeah.
Michigan. But with the 2027s, I don't know if you guys are paying attention on Twitter. We have so many out to very, very good players. So keep an eye on that.
Love that. Well, fellas, it was a fun season. Great portal season. Yeah. It's the wild, wild west, and it's kind of fun. But I feel like it's a wrap for us. We've got a couple weeks off. We're going to take just fans out there. We'll be doing some random commentary. I know Joel's got some breakdowns he wants to do for defensive linemen, but I know we've got spring camp starting up middle of March. I don't think they've announced the location yet, but looking at the April 25th, I think I saw for the spring game. But I look forward to going to that. Hopefully that works out. I love me some Pullman time. So. But
I wanted to
that's
give
all I
one,
got.
one final thought. Of course. Once an episode. Once an episode. Here we go. Here we go. Couldn't miss it. To those out there that have liked what we talk about, support the show. We are turning a corner in production, honestly, and thanks to all of you. But to get monetized at the level that we're going at, we would have to make the content paid for, and we're really not trying to do that. So subscriptions aren't free, and so yada yada yada. If you have an extra buck or two, consider supporting the show. If you check out our Up West Sports Venmo, just consider that. If not, don't worry. We'd rather have your money go towards Wazoo Athletics and 1890 Club. So if you're doing that, or if you're not doing that, please do that more so. But if you have an extra buck or two to spare, we really appreciate it. Helps us get more content for you guys. So I just want to throw that out there.
Love it.
Well, go Cougs, baby.
Go Cougs, baby.
If you're interested in being great, you better look hard into Washington State. You want to be great? Go to Washington State, baby.